Now, President, my question is to my good friend, the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations, Senator Watt. Especially this bloke here. Now, at the last election, Minister, Federal Labor promised to get wages moving again and support Australian workers. Now, we know that low wages and insecure work were a deliberate design feature of the Coalition's economic plan when they were last in government. We also know that these policies led to high levels of industrial action and rising cost of living pressures on Australian households. After a decade of deliberate wage stagnation and attacks on workers, how is the Albanese Labor government's policy agenda supporting Australian workers to earn more and keep more of what they earn, while also keeping industrial action low?
Thank you, Senator Ciccone. Minister Watt.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Senator Ciccone. I can see why you were so excited to ask that question, because there is good news for Australian workers and Australian businesses arising from the Albanese government's workplace reforms. The Albanese Labor government is helping working people in Australia earn more and keep more of what they earn. And after a decade of low wages being a deliberate design feature of the Coalition's economic policy, this government, this Labor government, is getting wages moving again, creating more secure jobs, making workplaces safer and closing the gender pay gap, all while keeping industrial action down. And Senator Henderson, I'm sorry to hear that all of that good news disappoints you so much. Because of our agenda, wages growth is back. Oh, so unhappy.
Minister
so
Watt,
unhappy.
Minister Watt, please resume your seat. Order. 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 Senator Henderson.
On the point of order, President, the point of order is that you are completely out of order by imputing my reputation, by misrepresenting me. I was sitting here doing nothing.
Your seat. There's no point of order. Senator Henderson. Order. Order. Senator Henderson, I note you are perfectly within your rights to call a point of order, which you do fairly regularly. I am also the President of the Senate, and when I ask you to resume your seat and stop speaking, that is what I also expect. Minister Watt, please continue.
What?
Senator McGrath, if there wasn't so much disorder in the chamber, you would have heard me say there is no point of order. Now, please resume your seat. Please resume your seat. Minister Watt.
Well, if opposition members are going to object and complain about our policies, we're going to point that out to you. We're going to point. I mean, how many glass jaws are there on that side of the chamber when we want to talk about the fact that
Minister Watt, I am going to draw you to the question.
Sure. It is unfortunate that that side of the chamber feels so upset and so disappointed every time we talk about the fact that our workplace reforms are delivering higher wages, more secure jobs, safer workplaces, closing the gender pay gap, all while keeping industrial action down. I don't know why you're so sad about that, but every time we talk about it, you arc up, you cry, you complain. It's very, very puzzling. Because of our agenda, wages growth is back. As I say, the gender pay gap is at its lowest level ever. There are more people in jobs and industrial action is low. In fact, in the last quarter of the previous government, industrial action was far higher than it is now, and that is because Labor has built a cooperative workplace relations system to replace the conflict-driven model that we inherited. We've closed loopholes which are benefiting workers and also benefiting businesses, stopping them from being undercut by rogue competitors.
Minister, thank you. The time has expired. Senator Ciccone, first supplementary.
And as always, thank you very much, Minister, for that answer. Now, I do note that the Liberals and the Nationals have repeatedly voted against the Albanese Labor government's policies to support Australian workers from earning more and keeping more of what they earn. Given the Coalition's track record of attacking workers' rights and wages, how are the government's reforms supporting workers and the economy, and what is the biggest challenge, Minister, to implementing these very, very important reforms?
Thank you, Senator Ciccone. Minister Watt.
Well, thank you again, Senator Ciccone. And we already know that Mr Dutton and Senator Cash and all of their colleagues over there are out there running scare campaigns against higher wages and more cooperative workplaces. It wasn't that long ago that we had Senator Cash out there saying that Labor's workplace law changes would close down Australia. Sadly for Senator Cash, Australia is open, it's functioning, and you know what? It's delivering higher wages, more jobs, reducing the gender pay gap and reducing industrial action all at the same time. Now, we also know that Mr Dutton has been telling big employers in Western Australia that he will hit Control-X on his computer and cut the rights that we've promised to workers and their unions. But what will that actually mean for the Western Australian economy? Because under this government, employment growth in Western Australia is at a record high of 3.6%. Under the Morrison government, it was 1.6%. Wages in Western Australia have been growing faster under this government than under the Morrison government, and working days lost to industrial disputes in Western Australia have fallen under this government.
Has expired. Senator Coney, second supplementary.
Again, Minister, I know a lot of frontline workers and people in retail and hospitality rely on those increased wages. Now, I do note that the Coalition have not ruled out reprising their low wages policy, but have promised to take a suite of targeted repeals to the next election. Why is getting wages moving and fostering cooperative workplaces so important, Minister, and why is the government being committed to strengthening the rights and entitlements of every single Australian worker?
Thank you, Senator Coney. Minister Watt.
They do get upset when we talk about workplace reform, don't they? They do get upset when we talk about wages rising, more secure jobs, lower gender pay gap and also, importantly, lower industrial action. And unlike those opposite, who thrive on conflict, this government is focused on bringing businesses and workers together to ease cost of living pressure, deliver higher wages and more productivity for businesses. We know the Coalition had an anti-worker and anti-union agenda when they were in government. They deliberately kept wages low, they kept workers in insecure work, and they refused to fix the bargaining system, leading to more industrial action. And we know the Coalition have already committed to ripping away rights for casual workers and taking away the right for workers to stop working for free with our right to disconnect, scrapping casual worker rights, scrapping the right to disconnect. They're on the record saying it. We had Senator Hume out there saying that adding more rights for workers is, quote, unreasonable, and that's because the Coalition have a plan to take a targeted package of repeals to the next election.
The time for answering has expired.